Hello, Northgate kindergarteners. How are you this week? I know it is spring break, but Miss Ruth and I decided that we were still gonna be making short little videos and uploading them for you to have something to continue to practice if you were to choose to do so. Today is Monday, April 13. And I want to give you some other tips, some other idea on how to practice reading comprehension retelling. Last week, Miss Ruth read the story of the Three Little Pigs, and she was stopping in certain parts of the story to give you an opportunity to have a think and share or tend to or turn and talk, different ways that we call these strategies that we do in class, and that is to help you remember what's happening in the story so that it's easier for you to retell at the end. She also explained that retelling means tell me again. So basically, when you retell a story, you tell the story in your own words. Well, here is a way that you could remember the story. The stories, or most of the stories we read, they have three parts. And for that, I have a little song. We practiced this in room 7. But I'm going to do it one more time so that all of you kindergarteners could use it when you have to remember the story and what happened in it. The song goes like this. A story has three parts. A story has three parts. A story has three parts, and they are the beginning, middle, and ending. The beginning has three parts. The beginning has three parts. The beginning has three parts, and they are the opening, characters, and setting. The middle has one part. The middle has one part. The middle has one part, and it's the problem. The ending has two parts. The ending has two parts. The ending has two parts, and they're the solution and the closing. With that little song, you could remember all of the parts of the story, and then it makes it easier for you to retell it, to tell what happened. In the beginning, we have three parts. We talked about the opening, that is how the story begins. We talked about the characters, who are the animal or people in the story. And we talked about the setting. Setting is where the story takes place. Where does the story happen? Does it happen in the ocean? Does it happen in the playground of Northgate Elementary? Does it happen in the woods? Where does the story happen? That's the setting. Then in the middle of the story, or towards the middle, there is almost always something that happened. And you need to think about that as the problem. What happened in the story? What happened to those characters in the story? Or what happened between the characters? It varies from story to story. And as you get towards the end of the story, then that problem is solved and the story ends. With that in mind, and remembering the story of the Three Little Pigs that Miss Ruth read, I believe it was April 9, that was last week on Tuesday. If you watch her video, then you see how she goes through the story, she stops and thinks, and her son Tevia helps her do the retelling on the story. I also remember Miss Ruth going back in the story and doing sort of like a picture walk where you look at the picture, at the illustrations to help you remember what happened. Well, today I'm going to do the retelling. I don't have the book, but I have some pets. Do you recognize this? This is pig number 1, pig number 2, pig number 3, and another character. Who's this? Yes, you got it. The big bad wolf. So, using these masks, I'm going to retell the story following these steps in the song. Listen to the opening. Once upon a time, 3 little pigs went out to seek their fortune. They were playing and having fun together, enjoying their time along. As the winter came, they decided they needed to build their own home. So, I mentioned the opening, once upon a time. I talked about the characters, 3 little pigs. They are the animals in this story. And we talked a little bit about the setting of this story. They were out to seek their fortune. They were out in the woods. Okay, so now we know this story happens in the woods. Now let's keep on going and see what the problem might be. As the winter comes and the days grow colder, they decide to make their own home. Not too long after, they notice some tracks, and they belong to the wolf. Here is another character. They got inside their homes and started to relax and get comfortable. Soon after, the first little pig heard a knock on his door. Little little pig, let me come in. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. The wolf huffed and puffed and blew the house down. The little pig ran and ran until he got to his brother's house, the second little pig. And now we are looking at the middle of the story. What's the problem in this story? You got it. The wolf is knocking on their door and is trying to eat them. That's the big problem. The wolf goes to the second house made out of sticks, and he knocks on their door. Little pigs, let me come in. Now by the hair on our chinny chin chin, the pigs say. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. And he did, but he was not successful. Pig number 1 and pig number 2 ran off to their brother's house. House number 3 made out of, you got it, made out of bricks. And here comes the wolf again. Little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair of our chinny chin chin, they said. The wolf tried. He huffed and he puffed, but he couldn't blow that house down. That house made out of bricks was really strong, really sturdy. So he decided to climb up to the roof and go down the chimney. But before he could reach all the way in, he still got on fire and off he went. Now we are down to the end, the solution. How did the problem get solved? The wolf caught on fire and he disappeared. The closing, how does the story end? The three little pigs live happily ever after. So boys and girls, you could use cardboard, you could use paper, you could use different things like that and create little masks like this. You could also draw your own picture. These ones look like that on the front, and on the back I'm using a tongue depressor. And you could use it to retell your story. Or if you don't have way of creating this and integrating art with your reading comprehension, then what you could do is just remember the song. And by remembering the song, you could tell all of the parts of the story. Now, since I was using the masks to kind of help you understand the process, I didn't do a formal retell of the story. So basically, once you take a picture walk, once you reread the story, you practice with some props like that, then you have a better understanding of the story. And if you keep in mind the parts of the story, like I show you with this song, then you could remember more in detail. So watch me as I do a much more proper retell of the story of the three little pigs. The story is about three little pigs that go out in the world to seek their fortune. They sat in the woods and they were having a great time. As the winter came, they decided to build their own homes. They built, the first little pig built a house of straw, the second little pig built a house of sticks, and the third little pig built a house of bricks. One day, they noticed some tracks around and they decided to get inside their homes because they knew the wolf was close. Before they knew it, the wolf came around knocking on their door, trying to eat them. First, he tried to eat the little pig that lived in the house of straw. He didn't do it because the first little pig ran off to his brother's house. The wolf came and knocked on that house number 2, the house of sticks. And he huffed and he puffed and he tried to eat both of those little pigs there. But he couldn't do it either, because when he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down, the three little pigs ran off to their third sibling home. They got to the house of bricks and there they faced safer. But when the wolf showed up and he tried to blow the house down and he couldn't, he went up the roof and tried to go down the chimney. But the wolf caught his tail on fire and he was gone forever. And the three little pigs lived happily ever after. So kindergarteners, here is another way of practicing your retelling. Again, just to review what we went over, one thing that you could do to retell a story is reread it, take a picture walk, remember the parts of the story, and then practice telling your story in the order it happened. So before I go, here is the song again. A story has three parts. A story has three parts. A story has three parts, and they're the beginning, middle, and ending. The beginning has three parts. The beginning has three parts. The beginning has three parts, and they're the opening, characters, and setting. The middle has one part. The middle has one part. The middle has one part, and is the problem. The ending has two parts. The ending has two parts. The ending has two parts, and they're the solution and the closing. Remember this song, and you will remember all the details, all the important key details to retell when summarizing a story, when telling in your own words what a story is about. Okay, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye-bye.